Hi, in this video we are going to discuss about components. So components is nothing but a bunch of line of code. So component is made up of basically templates. So we have templates, which is nothing but our HTML files, and then we also have classes, which is nothing but our TypeScript files. Then we also have our metadata. So metadata is something that Angular requires. This information need to decide whether a particular class is an Angular component or a simple component. So let me write out this. Angular requires this information need to decide if a particular class is an Angular component or it's a simple class. So let me also moving forward. So components are of two types. So we have our default components, or we have our custom components. So custom components, let me save it. We have default components also. We can create default component using line of command. As you can see, I'm already inside that our code Angular folder, which is, as you can see over here, this is our folder and this is our code Angular project. I'm already inside this, and then we have to write the command ng generate component and then your component name. Here we are simply using test. So ng stand for Angular, generate stand to generate a particular component of name test, or you can also use ng gc, which is gc generate component test. So hit enter. As you can see, after hitting enter, it's updating or creating 4 files as well as updating app.module.ts. So let me save out this and also run our projects using ng serve. And if you move towards app, as you can see, our test component is created. So spec file we don't need this. We are going to delete this thing over here and say we have our css, which is nil, and then we have our test component dot html. Say I'm writing down as in the h1 tag, say in the h3 tag, say I am from default component and save it. As you can see, it shows that it has updated also in the app.module.ts. So I will show you where it's updated. So if you go to the app.module.ts, in the declaration array, it has updated that test component is newly added, and you need to include this while running that Angular application. And then we have to navigate this. So let me copy that app test using Ctrl C. As you can see over here, our application is running and let me refresh it out for you. As you can see, hi, I am from CodeMe Angular project, and as you can see, we have to include that test component in our root component. So we are using that arrow tag and then paste it out, save it, and now you can navigate over here. As you can see, I am default component. So how this thing is working, as you can see, after we are hitting on save, it will like changing and building the project again. And so we also need to create our custom. So let me put it as a new over here, a new folder. So new folder, and I'm giving that name as say dev. And okay, so it's not inside, so let me put it as outside. Okay, put it as outside. As you can see, it's outside, and then in the dev we need to create one more file, new file, and then give the name of dev.component.html over here. And as you can see, it's created, and we have dev.component.html, and we also need to create our TypeScript file. So let me create our TypeScript file, new file, dev.component.ts file. So as you can see, we already create the 4 file which is provided over here, but see, I don't need that spec file, or currently I'm not using that css file, so I'm just closing this. And in the TypeScript file, I need to export this because it's going to use by the Angular root component. So export class over here and giving name as dev component over here, and then exporting it. And then we have to use the decorator, which is, as you can see, like it doesn't have, say, just check over here, if I hit the component it will going to import. So at a rate, then we have component, so say it will going to import that library by default from Angular core. So we have to use selector over here, you can simply write it. I'm just copying from another component, so let me copy it out those two things using Control C, and then go to our TypeScript file and also paste it down over here. And I'm giving this name as test dev over here, save it. And see, I already show you I doesn't have this file, so I have dev over here, which is a small dev, and save it. As you can see, our TypeScript file is ready, but our HTML file is empty. So I'm like putting as h5 tag, say hi, I am from custom components. So let me save this out, and as you can see, we haven't like put our style. So style is optional, if you want to use you can use. So one thing is remaining, we have to declare that component inside our app module. So we are declaring using that dev component. As you can see, if we write dev component is simply imported. So let me save out this, and we also, if I save out this, and you can see it's not showing the UI because we haven't include that in our app root HTML. So we have to inside our app root HTML, and then we have to import using app whatever the selector we have provided app dev, or you can simply provide it whatever you want to use. So I'm simply provided as a small dev. Okay, just wait a minute. In that ts file I'm providing as a small dev for clear understanding. So save out and then go to your app.dev over here, save out, go to your html. As you can see, it refreshes and it show hi, I am from custom component. So that's how that thing will work. And let me show you one more thing. So as you can see over here, let me close this thing. As we have some option over here, which is our TypeScript file, and I have that, and also open that app.module.html. So for your clear understanding, say I have used the selector in a this way. Say I have put the dot over here and named as a class. So if I put it as a control save, and as you can see in the browser itself, it shows it's failed. Why? Because say that app date is an unknown element, so it won't recognize that app dev because we already created a class. So how we can describe? We can describe with the help of div tag, and inside the div tag we have to specify our class as we have app, then dev, then save it. Just go to your chrome and now you can see it's working fine. And here we also have one more way how to declare it. So we have simply put it as and making this thing as a property, save it and go to your custom HTML, and then we simply have to erase this class. Simply we have put div and then property, and then if you go to over here, see it's working fine. So that's how that selector, we have particular three type. We also have that HTML inline, or say we have HTML URL also. Let me show you with a like very quick example. So as you can see, for you I'm erasing this thing and putting as a template only, and I'm using this as say custom URL. I am of this thing dev.html. So save this out using control C and going to that component.html and using the inline tag. See over here, if I make some difference or say component inline, save it, and now just head over to the browser. As you can see, hi, I am from custom component inline. It's not taking that HTML. Why? Because we are using that inline template. If you want to say you have say 4 or 5 lines of HTML, so it's better to use inline instead of creating a new file. If you want to use 4 or 5 files, you have to use the backticks over here, and with the help of backticks you can simply write multiple lines of code in the particular files. See over here and save it. See, it's working as expected after refreshing. So that's how we can put that template over here. We can also use the css property in our app.component.ts. So let me minimize it and close it. And for your nodes, we have like for selector we have three types, and for our your template we have two types, which is by file location or inline template, or we also have that style of also two types, which is of file location slash inline templates, save it. And as you can see over here, you have to move toward that selector. Will show you how we can use that css inline. So let me put it over here. We are using that h2 tag and also using that h2. Say I'm describing the color over here as orange. So save it and go to your browser. As you can see, it's in over here. It's coming from that template URL. And say I don't want this, I'm going to describe in the component as an inline template. So I'm just putting comment over here and use, instead of style I'm using styles, and then with the help of style I'm using inline with the help of backticks, and then copying the same over here from the css. Instead of a color I'm giving as a blue. So let me copy this thing and paste it down over here, and instead of giving orange color, so you can easily identify, I'm giving blue. Save it. Now hit over to your browser. As you can see here, inline css is also working fine. So that's it for this video. In this video we have learnt about components, but inside the component, creating two types of component, which is default component or our custom component, how we can use three type of selector, and then we have inline template as well as the template URL, same in case of freestyle. So that's it for this video. We'll see you in the next video.